What is a little-known warning from nature that can save your life?
If the animal's GTFO, you should too.
Most animals don't smile. If you see teeth or an open mouth, it's usually a warning or sign of aggression.
If you are swimming at the beach or a coastal inlet and see an unusually calm area of water, get away from it, it could be a rip tide. On that note, if you get stuck in a rip, don't swim against it, you will tire and drown. Swim parallel to the coast till you swim out of the rip.
If you're walking in a forest and suddenly everything gets dead silent, find shelter. There's likely a predator nearby.
If you happen upon a moose and aren't intending to be that close, hunters, regardless of the season, you should leave immediately. Moose are not your friends. You'll have a window of opportunity to leave. Take it. The cows will straight up murder you, especially if she has calves, and the bulls might take down half a forest to murder you. Thanks for the wholesome award and all the replies.
If a tree is hot to touch, get the beep out. I don't know if this is common in other countries, but here in Australia we have what's called widowmakers. Basically, eucalypt trees are extremely flammable and it's possible for the tree to be on fire internally, but not visible on the outside, and can literally explode at any given moment.
In Australia, standing dead still will get you out of trouble with most snakes, with the notable exception of a tiger snake. You might think this means you should run. However, tiger snakes are also one of the few that will chase you, and they're damn fast. An old bushman told me once, if you see a tiger snake close enough to strike you, just kill it, cause it's kill or be killed once it knows you're there. ETA, a bit of common sense goes a long way, and I'm sure he didn't mean to antagonize it if it's just moving on its way. You by all means can try to move away or wait it out if it hadn't noticed you, but yes, a few people I know, including my mom, have been chased decent distances by them. I've been lucky and always seen them far enough away that I've been able to avoid them, but I have no doubt about the chasing thing. I've heard it from too many disparate sources. The bushman I mentioned also always carried a fairly decent-sized hatchet and was rarely out of reaching distance from a gun, so it's not like he was saying to kill it with a stick either. He assumed, rightly so, us being farm kids, we would always have a gun or tool of some sort on hand with which to dispatch them if needed. Also be aware that since then, early 90s, it has been made illegal to kill them even in self-defense. Lots of comments replying to this that browns are worse and that Tasmanian tiger snakes are chill. Worth noting. Thanks for all the replies with different views.
During stormy weather in the Midwest, if the sky turns greenish and the pressure bottoms out, it's time to head for the basement.
If a tornado looks like it's not moving, chances are that it is either coming right at you, or it's moving away from you. Always assume it's coming towards you and seek shelter right away.
If a bee keeps headbutting you and annoying you, alter course. They are warning you that you're getting too close to the nest.
Your own senses. If you feel like something is wrong, there is a good chance it is. In your peripheral you may have seen something or gotten a vibe from someone that made your hair stand. Don't just dismiss the feeling. Our subconscious is very attuned to hostile body language and people capable of violence.
If the tornado isn't moving, it's coming straight toward you. Also, don't eat wild mushrooms unless you're 100% sure you know what you're eating.
Squirrels will sometimes watch you from a distance while making alarm calls. The sound varies by species, but it's generally a sort of squawking bark. If you hear them barking, and they aren't yelling at you, then there may be something else around they think is a predator. It's worth paying attention.
If you're on the beach and see that the shore is much further out in the ocean than it usually is, you should get away from there immediately. This is the major warning sign of a tsunami, and you can see this e.g. in videotapes of the Great Tsunami in 2004. But people weren't leaving, they rather tried to figure out where the water went. I once also heard a story about a girl who went to holidays with her parents to a region which was hit by the tsunami, and a few weeks before the vacation she learned about tsunamis at school, so she noticed what was happening and she rescued her family.
You might have had a small seizure and didn't know it. Anyone can have a seizure. What makes someone like me an epileptic is having a low threshold. But I wasn't born with epilepsy. It just came into my life at 27 and nobody could tell me why. But way before I became epileptic, I actually had a few clues here and there. I bring this up because I've seen others on Reddit describe these events and ask what it was. And seizures are on the rise. And there are different kinds of seizures. Someone could easily just have one throughout their entire life. Indicators you are having a small seizure include suddenly forgetting what you are saying halfway through a sentence, Suddenly just forgetting how to speak or understand for a few seconds. Suddenly hearing loud ringing in your ears for no reason at all. Like in a quiet room. Heart suddenly racing for a few seconds. I will have all of these symptoms at once, and they are called absence seizures, or petit mals. The first time it happened, I called the advice nurse and she just laughed at me, telling me to stop drinking coffee. The list goes on. 10 years after that first event, nothing happened again until I started waking up on the floor or feeling exhausted throughout the day. I was having seizures in my sleep and didn't know it. Then one day I woke up in the hospital and was a full-blown epileptic. Edit. If you think you may have had a seizure, go see a doctor. They may just question you or they may even try to induce a seizure. But it's a fact that you may or may not get a definite answer.
If you see multiple dead fish in a body of water where people don't fish, don't go in the water. It likely has high bacteria or is polluted.
If you are in a canyon, slot or otherwise, and you see clouds anywhere in the sky, GTFO. It could be raining miles away and cause a flash flood in less than 10 minutes as water rushes through the canyon. Get to higher ground. Also, if you are whitewater rafting or doing any sort of river trip, if you fall out of your boat, float downstream feet first. Hitting your head can kill you. In a survival situation, remember the rules of 3. You can survive 3 minutes without oxygen, 3 hours without shelter in a harsh environment, 3 days without water, and 3 weeks without food. Prioritize. Edit to appease sticklers.
If an animal is brightly colored and or distinctly patterned and easy to see, that's a warning not to mess with it.
I think that when your hair starts floating upwards during a thunderstorm, you are probably going to get hit by lightning.
I can answer this. If you're hiking and suddenly smell something very musky, almost reminiscent of a faint country manure, keep your beep eyes open. I was hiking on the Appalachian Trail today, up in Maryland. The wind shifted and the smell changed to something like I described above. Caught me off guard, but I kept hiking. About a quarter mile later, I turned around and began to head to my car since I was already 6 miles into a 2.5-mile hike. Right around where the smell changed, I heard a sudden crashing sound and saw a black bear just beep busting its way away from the trail into the woods. I had walked past it, and then came back upon it when I turned around. **TLDR. If you're hiking and the ambient scent changes suddenly, you're probably close to an animal.
You can smell storms in the air before they happen. Storms, rain, etc.
After walking miles on a sandy beach, I sat down on a piece of driftwood next to the cliff wall to rest. My dog was having none of it. A rare barker, she barked at me incessantly. I tried to play with her. I offered her water. The only thing that worked was getting up and walking away. As I did, sand crumbled down the wall. Nothing serious. Weeks later, a woman lost her life when the wall collapsed.
Surprised the flash flood sign hasn't been posted yet. If you're walking near water and if turns dirty and dirty with debris in it, get to high ground.
Are animals nature? If you have guard dogs and they bark, it means whatever they are barking at is far away and they're just saying, "Don't come over here." If the dogs start barking and are staying as quiet as possible without moving, means whatever it is more than likely is within eyesight or very close.
Jumping off of a cliff usually kills you. Don't do that in a survival situation.
For novice campers, be able to recognize what dead standing trees look like, and don't camp near them.
May your day be filled with joy and happiness. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe for more quality content every day.